Okay, let us start the class. So in today's class, I'm going to explain in JavaScript how to display JavaScript objects. Okay, in the previous class, as I told you that these all the classes are free classes which are being running under my Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation. The classes will be conducted on thrice of a week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sharply at 8 p.m. in Zoom. The class link, Zoom class link, that is the permanent link that was shared to all of you through WhatsApp groups, Facebook, Twitter. So thrice of a week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the classes will be conducted. And I promised that I will conduct these classes until my last breath of life. Anybody can attend my classes, okay, who are living in rural areas, away of network centers, network facilities, and whomever not afford to expensive classes, they can attend my classes, okay? So in today's class in JavaScript, so let us discuss how to display JavaScript objects. So I told you that what is the use of JavaScript? Okay, JavaScript is a language, especially for web development to create the dynamic and interactive web pages. Okay, interactive web pages means the web page interacts with you. So whenever you click anything, okay, and if you type any text, the text will be validated, and for your mouse clicks, the web page responds. So that is called interactive web page. Okay. Why dynamic? Dynamic means suppose a text is there. Okay, that is static text. Okay, head is there, header is there. So the header is the static header. Okay, but dynamic means whenever you click on a button, so some text message will be appears. So it is called dynamic. Okay, it means something is some action is going on. But whenever header is there, the header is static. So whenever you click, keep on whenever you keep the mouse on that header, the header will not change. Okay. So, but whenever you click on a button, a message appears. So this is called dynamic. Okay. So JavaScript, most of the JavaScript language that will be used to create the dynamic and interactive web pages. Okay, objects already I told you that objects are what they are, the real world objects. Any name of the car, person, building, child, book, everything, all the things which are related to the real world, they are called the objects. Object it will having lot of dumb data, means every object has some properties, methods. Okay, so all these I have explained in the previous class. Okay. So now how to display JavaScript object. Okay. The JavaScript object will output object. So every JavaScript object, it will output the object. So let us see how to write the code for this. This is, I told you that to create an object in the JavaScript, constant keyword must be used, and new keyword also will be used to create the object. Constant keyword here used to create the object. Object name person is compulsory. In these curly braces, these are object literals. Literal means one property and a value. One property, a value. So it is called a key. Every property is called a key. So key value pair. It is a key value pair. So this object person has three literals. These key value pairs are called literals. Okay. Object literals. So three literals. Here three object literals we have defined here. And once object is created, then it is to be terminated. Then what if you want to display the object? Okay, so we need to create a variable and then the object to be assigned, to a variable. I told you that variable will be created with the let keyword. Let, constant, these are the keywords. So many keywords they are being used in JavaScript. Here let keyword, it is being used to create a variable. Here, variable, any name of the variable. No, it doesn't mean only text. You can keep any variable name. Here, text variable, the name of the variable is text, and this object is assigned to this text. Whenever you call this text, so object will be displayed. Object will be displayed as the output. So let us try to understand the code, how to write the code. Okay. So whenever we create a variable, and that variable, as I told you that in JavaScript, let constant keywords will be used to create the variables. So once variable is created, variable name can be, we can keep anything. Okay, doesn't mean my name we can keep as a variable, your name XYZ. Okay, doesn't mean. So once the object is assigned to any variable, and whenever we call that variable, so output object output will be displayed on the screen. So let us practice this code. This is the code. Uh whenever under the script, where is under the script? Okay, script start tag and script end tag. Within the scripts we can keep the JavaScript code. So once the object is created, how to display the JavaScript object? So by creating a variable, and once variable is assigned with the object, to display the object, okay, object as object. So I told you that one method mostly used JavaScript HTML method, that is get element by ID method. This method will identify the HTML element by this demo ID. ID is an attribute, and inner HTML property. That property, inner HTML property, is assigned to that variable text. So this inner HTML, yeah, is used to display the content of the HTML element. Okay, the content is whatever the content is what object. Okay, object, it holds whatever these are the literals. So object, we will get the output as object. So this is the way how to display the JavaScript object. So now let us do one thing. We will write, this is the HTML document, okay, otherwise HTML page. So within this, first of all, we need to write the code of HTML, body element, header element, paragraph element, and then one ID to be ID attribute. It is to be assigned with the demo value. That value we need to pass. That I attribute we need to pass as a value, as a value of get element by ID. This is the mostly used JavaScript HTML method, which is used to find the HTML element, and inner HTML is a property which will be used to display the content of the HTML element. Okay. So now the total code, I want to delete the total code here. So I want to delete the total code here. So this is the result window. This is the code window. This is the web editor, online web editor. So the task is what? To write the code to display the JavaScript object. Okay. So now, first of all, we need to write, that is what, document. First of all, exclamation mark, document HTML. Okay. Next. Next word, HTML element. Okay. Started with start tag, and that HTML element to be closed with end tag. Okay. Next, under this body element to be started with the body element to be started with start tag, and it is to be closed with body end tag. Okay. Now here, first of all, we need to keep any header. Okay. And it header section, header element to be stopped, to be ended with header end tag. Okay. Inside of this, the content, whatever we write, that will be displayed. How to display object, JavaScript object. Okay. So now whenever you click on here, how to display JavaScript object. So the content, where whatever the content you write inside of these tags, that will be displayed. If you once suppose if you keep like this, so the content will not be displayed because you want to keep this content inside of the H1 start tag. You have kept this content, you have kept this content inside of the header element start tag. So that's why it is not displayed. If you want to display this content on the screen, you need to you need to write you need to write this content inside of the start and start and end tags. So this is the start tag, this is the end tag. So you need to write here. Now write how to display how to display JavaScript objects. How to display JavaScript object. Understood that? Okay. Now, so next is what? Next, one more header element you want to write, that is up to you. You can define many header elements. If you don't want, no need. So next, paragraph element that is to be defined. So paragraph element started with start tag and it is to be closed with the end tag. Now, inside of, if you write anything, that will be displayed, and paragraph paragraph element. Okay. Paragraph element used to this paragraph element used with a ID. Here ID will be used, that is called ID is equal, I told you that ID is equal to a demo. Single quotation or double quotation mark you keep as demo. Okay. So now what happened? See here, once you have started with single quotation marks, you need to keep single quotation marks. So now if you run this paragraph element, this is what content. The content will be displayed. But inside of this start tag, I have kept ID attribute. So that attribute is assigned with a value, demo. This value that will be passed to the get element by ID method. Okay. To identify the HTML content. Now come to the point. Next is what? Now we need to write the JavaScript code. The JavaScript code will be written inside of the script start tag and end tag. Script JavaScript end tag. Okay. Now see. So now inside of this here, inside of this area, the script JavaScript code will be written. Okay. So first of all, question is what? Comment. Comment is what? How to display JavaScript JS means JavaScript object. Okay. This is the single line comment. This line of comment will not be read by your JavaScript browser. Okay. Browser. Okay. Now, next, write the code for, I told you that method is what? Get element get element by ID method. Get element by ID method. Method always having these parentheses. So it is what a method. Method is not just like a function. Okay. So this method, this is the mostly used JavaScript HTML method to display on the screen. Okay. So this method, it is to be passed with a value. This is the value that is passed to ID attribute. Now pass this value as okay demo, but demo it is looking white. So if you want to, okay, I need to keep here the it is to be it is a text. So now this is okay. Without keeping the quotes, it looks like there is no any action. It is looking what somewhat. So there is no any action here. Okay. So keep the quotation, single quotation was here. Okay, single quotation, double quotation, it doesn't matter. So now get element ID. This is the mostly used JavaScript method. Now it is the part of your HTML document. So this is called HTML web page. Okay, so other way HTML document, other HTML page. So we need to call this method as this method is part of this web page. So that's why, because this method is part of this HTML document. So document.getElement by ID. Now I told you that this method is used to find out the HTML element. Okay. Now the element is identified by this method, and I want to display okay the object. So inner HTML attribute that will be used to display on the screen. So next what? Next we need to pass a variable. Before this, I need to create a variable here. First of all, you create a variable with the let keyword. Let variable any name, suppose Vasu. I told you any variable you can take. Now that before this object, we need to create the object. I have not created the okay, create the object. So comment here, object creation. Okay, comment here, single line comment. So and so these are single line comments. They will not be read by Java's your internet browsers. So this line of code will be executed. So to create the object, use the constant keyword. I told you that. Then any object name person. Suppose person is an object name and is equal, then after keep the flower braces. So then I told you that object to be closed. So now if it is called empty object you have created, empty object. Empty object means you have not defined any literals, means any object property and values you have not defined. So now it is called empty object. But once you have defined any line of code, any literals, means properties and values, key values. Okay, now here every person has a value. Every person has some properties. Person has what? Some name is here. If a property is a property of person, and name always it is a string type of data. So here you mention here that string to be mentioned either in the single quotation or double quotation one. Doesn't mean you can keep single quotation also. Right? Person, what is the person name? Rahul. Okay, Rahul is a person name. Next is what? So here, this is the mistake. I told you that every key and this is the property means key and this is the value. So both will be separated with the column. Okay. Now every literal will be separated with a comma. Next, one more property of the object, that is what age. Age of any person has somewhat age. Age is it is a number. So write in any number 45. Okay, next comma. One more, if you want to define any person has somewhat properties, that is what his date of year. Okay, date of year. So date of year is what? Suppose 1996. Then if you don't want to write any more attributes, no need to keep the comma here. Okay, just three attributes mean properties. Three properties you have defined with the values. Now your object person is defined. Person is declared and defined with the three key values. Okay. Now your object is created. Now this object to be assigned to a variable, any variable name. You can take any Vasu text display, any. If you want to display, keep display. There is many problem. Any variable, and then assign that object name for this variable. Okay. Now what happened? Whenever you call this variable, okay, the total object will be displayed. So display, now inner you assign this variable to this inner HTML attribute display. Okay, this is what. Now what happened? Once this is done, your code is done. Okay, your code is means you have created an object and that HTML code written inside of the script start tag and end tag. Object created with the constant keyword and object is defined with three three property three properties, and every property is assigned with some property values. So next, if I want to get display on the object display on the screen, so we need to use get element by ID method. That method it is to be assigned with a value. That value is what? Demo. Demo is assigned to ID attribute. Now run this code. We are getting object. So question many students they have asked that this demo, whatever the value you have assigned for this ID attribute, that is to be passed for this get element by ID. So no need always keep demo. Okay, you can keep here anything. Okay, X if you have X, you need to mention here X. There is no any problem. You run this code. There is no any change. But this X, it is to be mentioned in singular double quotation marks. Once you have written like this, you will not get anything. Yeah? You need to write like this what? You need to write. Okay. So this is the thing you have mentioned here. So how to display JavaScript object. So this is the code written here. Okay, how to do that? If you, this is what, as I told you that this web page is static. Why? Because how to display JavaScript while you are clicking over the mouse over this text, nothing is changing. So this is called static. So JavaScript is used to create dynamic and interactive web pages. So dynamic while you are moving your mouse, some text to be displayed while you are clicking over any button, some text to be displayed. If you if you fill text, any data that is to be validated, so color to be changed, font size to be changed for your every mouse movement, some response would be there. So if the web page responds to your every action, every mouse action, if the web page response, that is called dynamic, not static. Okay. So if you want to change the web page background color, if you want to style this web page background color, font size, and this is what your, if you want to change the color size, so you need to use cascading style sheet. So here cascading style sheet. Okay, how to use the cascading style sheet. So whether this, so you need to write here under this, for this, under this style, okay, style, style tag, style end tag, style end tag. Okay, now what happened? Under this, you need to call, you need to select that selector. Selector for what? Suppose for the headers, this is the selector. This selector, header selector that will be used for to select the H1 header. So here background, background hyphen color. Okay. Now background color is what? Orange. Okay. Now what happened? This selector H1, which will select this content and that will be styled with orange color. Understood that? So to style any section of any element of your web page, that is to be selected first. So now if you want to color the total web page, this is what you have colored only head heading element. Now if you want to change the total web page color, you need to select the this total. Okay, the total. That is what called body. Body means we need to use the body selector here. That body selector will be used to select the whole body. So whole body is what you can write color. Okay, color is equal to blue, otherwise red. Now run this code. So now what happened? This body, the color, I want to change the background color. So you write the code background color, red. Understood that? So this is a key and this is a value. So it is called key value page. Okay, every key and value, they must be separated with the colon. And the statement to be terminated semicolon. Now this key value page that is to be kept inside of the selector. This is the selector body selector which will select the total body. Okay. If you change this red as light blue, so there is any problem, light blue. Okay. Run this code, light blue. So this is the word style. You need to the code written inside of the style. This is totally part of your CSS style sheet, cascading style sheet. Okay. And whatever the code written inside of the script elements, script tags, that is called your JavaScript code. Okay. So I told you that whatever the code written inside of the HTML, that is what your HTML code, that the HTML that is stands for hypertext markup language, which will be mostly used to create the web page. If you want to style the web page, you need to go for another language, that is CSS cascading style sheet language, which will be used to style your web page. Understood that? So here, as I told you that this is the selector and this is the selector of header element. Here background color, I have used the key and orange is a value I have assigned for this key, so that the background of the color of this header that will be changed. If you want to change the font of this header, okay, this header, if you want to change font, so font family key you need to use here and assign any value times New Roman, otherwise Arial, okay. So this is the font value. Now, whenever you click on the font will be changed. And font size. If you want to change font size, the font size will be in pixels. Okay, font hyphen size. Okay, pixels. So how many pixels you want to use here? Suppose 36 pixels. 36 pixels. Now run this code. If nothing is happened for your mouse click, means that syntax you need to check back that. Okay, don't worry that once whatever the syntax we have written, if that syntax is not being executed while you click the run button to execute the code, so that moment you need to check back the syntax of how to write the font size. So if you want to change this font size of the header, means head element, okay, you need to check the while I am clicking this code I have written to change the font size of this header section. So while I'm clicking over here, nothing happened here. So I need to check back the syntax. Okay, don't worry that. Check back the syntax. So this is what while whenever I want to change this font, what I have written here, this is what it is looking like a string, okay, because we have kept the quotes here, the number kept inside of the quotes. Now it is a string. No, but now it is a number. Okay, now you use px means pixels. Now there's no any change, so we need to check back the syntax, how to write the thing. Here, the pixel size, the font size, change it to 36. Okay, now if you change this as 23, whenever you click on the font size of this header element, other header section, that it change it to 23 pixels. Okay, the font size is the key, and that key is assigned with a value. This is the font size value. Mostly font size will be represented in pixels. Okay. Before this, why it is not being executed? If you give like this any space between font and size, nothing will be happen. Okay, nothing will be happen. So suppose if you give 40 pixels here, what happened here? Let us, there's no any change. While we click on this run button, so nothing being executed. Why? Because remove this space, a hyphen, okay, between the font and size, the hyphen is there. Here, if you keep any distance, so like this, it will be executed, but don't keep size, the distance between hyphen, before the hyphen, after the hyphen. So nothing will be executed. Huh? So understood that. So remove this distance between font and size and 40 pixels. This is what if you give 10 pixels, 10 pixels. How to display JavaScript object. So for this H1 is a selector which will select the content of the content written inside of the H1 element. Okay. And this content will be selected by this H1 selector. And inside of that H1 selector, whatever the properties you have mentioned with values, okay, every property is mentioned assigned with a value. Okay, and the value and the property are separated with the column. Every key value separated with every key value is closed. The statement to be closed, terminated with semicolon. So this is the header to style the header element. Okay. If you want to style some more, you can do. That is up to you. How to, if you want to create a button over this web page, it is up to you. And while whenever you're clicking over that button on something, some message to be displayed, okay, it is up to you, whatever, okay. So now if you want to align this text, this text is what, this is for what, your header. So this is the header element, the content written inside of your, the content written inside of this, your H1 element, the content written inside of the H1 element. So now if you want to keep this as center, but it is what, it is aligned at the left side of the web page. So if you want to align this center, so you need to write inside of this H1, okay, selector, align, align hyphen, align hyphen. Here we need to write text align, okay, text hyphen, text hyphen align colon center, okay. Now you run this code, but it is not executed. Why? Because here is equal, remove this is equal text align center. Run this code. So your this header section, header element align to center. If you want to write align to right of the web page, right of the web page, okay. Now run this. So it is aligned to right side of the web page. If you want to align this to left side, okay, it is left. So this is called what? This is one type of uh, dynamic. Why? Because as per this code, there is somewhat action over the web page. So most of the code written in any web page, three languages will be used here to develop the web page. One is the HTML, hypertext markup language to create the web page. This is all the, this is HTML code. Okay, H1P, this is okay. And whatever the code written inside of the style script, that is the CSS code which will be used to style the web pages. Okay, how to style means whatever the background color and any head section, any paragraph section, color, font size. So if you want to style, okay, how the web page appears, looks. So you need to learn about the CSS, cascading style sheets. And then JavaScript language, that is the code will be written inside of the script tags, script tag. Okay. So inside of this, whatever the code you written, that will be executed, and that is the part of your JavaScript. So JavaScript will be used for dynamic and interactive web pages. Okay. So I hope this is enough, because 1 hour I have spent with all of you, 1 hour I have spent with all of you, and this is enough. And we will meet on the Sunday. Okay, as I promised that 3 days of a class will be conducted, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and in every class I will discuss a different topic in different programming language. It may be C, C++, Java, Python. That is what C, HTML, CS, Java. It is the part of your front-end programming. For back-end, if you want to um, learn the Python, Java, okay, and somewhat SQL, Microsoft Azure, different topics will be discussed every day, and these classes will be conducted until last breath of life. And one more thing I want to brief here for JavaScript. That is what JavaScript can be used for front end and back end. For the back end, some like frameworks, libraries of JavaScript, there are Node.js that will be used for server side scripting code. Okay, and as I told you, the JavaScript will be used for dynamic to create dynamic and interactive web pages. In place of JavaScript, we can also use Microsoft ASP Active Server pages. Otherwise, PHP also. So both Active Server pages and PHP both are server side scripting languages to write the code for the backend. Okay, so this is enough. I hope that if you feel that class is useful to you, you can communicate me, you can contact me on my mobile number 9110398650 so that I can guide you and I can teach you. Okay. I can share the Zoom link to you so that you can attend my classes. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day. All of you. Jai Hind. Thank you.